thank you so much for deciding to click on my video today. We are doing a review on the new Hello Happy foundation from Benefit Cosmetics. This is supposed to be a soft blur foundation that is supposed to help blur imperfections. It has SPF 15 in it and is going to be flashback free. So we're gonna go ahead and test that in today's video. This is going to be more of like a first impression style. I have yet to try this out. So I'm gonna be trying it in today's video, and then also I'll be doing a little bit of a wear test as well. So we'll see how this wears throughout the day, the coverage that it gives. I'll be applying it with both a brush and a sponge so we can see both the applications. If you guys are ready to see a review on the Hello Happy foundation from Benefit, go ahead and keep on watching. About the foundation. So this is the Hello Happy foundation from Benefit Cosmetics, and here is what the outer packaging looks like. I have yet to actually open one. Benefit did send these over to me. They sent over 4 different shades. So this is supposed to be their soft blur foundation. I'm thinking I'm probably going to be shade number 3 or number 4. So let's pull it out of the carton here. This is going to be more of like a first impressions because I have yet to open these. So let's see. Okay, so here is what the packaging looks like. The top on this is super cute, and I love that it has like the little smiley face. So this does have 1 fluid ounce in it, so it's going to be your standard foundation amount. Woo! Okay, so automatically it's literally coming out of the tube, and I didn't even do anything. Okay, so I will just set that down. So obviously the tube isn't one of those ones that you're gonna be able to like squeeze and just get a little bit out at a time. It's probably gonna kind of splat out. So that probably is a little bit of a con. So let me tell you guys a little bit about this foundation. It is going to be $29. It is available now, and I of course will have it linked down below. It's supposed to even out your skin tone and blur away imperfections. It's going to be a light to medium coverage. This does have SPF 15 in it, but it's supposed to be a flashback free, which is really nice. And it is in 12 shades, so it's available in 12 different shades. Here is a little bit of the different shade range that it does offer. This was sent to me from Benefit, like I stated, so it does say it will be available in stores on June 29th. So right now it's just online, and like I said, it's $29. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's put it on our face and see what we think. All right, so I went ahead and I got a little bit closer so we could go ahead and apply the foundation. And I am gonna go ahead and apply a primer just because this is what I typically would do when applying this foundation. So I wanna give it a fair shot with the primers that I would normally use. I'm gonna go in with this one from Origins. This is the Pore Perfecting Cooling Primer. I've been using this one a bunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with that one. It is a bit of a pore filling primer, so keep that in mind. We're still gonna be able to see if this foundation does blur like it says it's going to, but I'm just gonna apply this because this is what I would typically do. So I wanna give it, like I said, a fair chance, but I am gonna just apply this all over my face and kind of really work it into my pores and lines. So this is looking like quite a bit of mess. I know it does say that you are supposed to shake it first, so I'm gonna go ahead and I think set some of this like on my hand here so we don't waste it, because that is quite a bit of foundation that kind of fell out when I opened it. So I'm gonna just put this on my hand. This is the lightest shade that they sent over, but it is looking like it might be a little bit dark for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my cap on, and I'm just gonna shake it up because that is what it says to do. And I can tell that this feels super liquid, like super liquidy. So maybe that's why it kind of spilled out the way it did, because it definitely, can you guys hear it? Like it's super liquidy. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit more out onto my hand. So let's see how it kind of drops out now that I shook it. So it does drop out a little bit better, but it's definitely kind of getting out a lot in one little droplet. So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one side of my face with a brush, and then one side with a beauty blender. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this side first, and I'm just gonna use my damp beauty blender. I just have the pink one here. I'm gonna grab it directly onto the sponge, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply it onto my face. I do think that the shade is gonna be a bit dark for me. This is shade number 3, and I'm just applying it, like I said, with my beauty sponge so we can see the coverage. It does have a bit of a smell to it. Nothing too bad. It kind of does smell like a little bit sunscreeny. I don't know how to explain it. Like a little bit of a scent, but it's nothing too bad. It actually kind of smells good. Alright, so here's what we're looking like after one layer of the foundation. I am noticing that my pores really don't look all that blurred. I don't know if you guys can really see, but they're still pretty visible. And also, I always like to cover like kind of these dark spots I have right here, and it didn't really cover those very well. So I'm gonna go ahead and see how it works if I apply a second layer. So I'm just gonna put out a little bit more on my hand and see how that works. We're gonna just still use, whoop, we dropped it. We're still gonna use our sponge. And I'm just gonna go ahead and work that into these areas just to see kind of how it is with a second layer, because this is supposed to be like a light to medium. So we're gonna see if we can get it up to like a medium coverage. That's typically what I prefer. I'm not really a fan of full coverage because I feel like for me, I don't like my skin to just look like leather. So I prefer kind of my moles and stuff to be peeking out. I would rather my skin look like skin. Okay, yeah, I definitely think I like it better with the second layer. We did have to use quite a bit of foundation though to get this, I will say, because I did have a generous amount on my hand before. So we did have to use quite a bit of foundation to get the second layer here going. But I feel like I definitely like it with a second layer. I like the coverage of that a lot better. And I do feel like that one kind of blurred my pores, and it did cover up kind of those dark spots that I had there. So here's what it looks like. It looks actually really radiant on the skin too. So this is with 2 layers with my sponge. You guys can kind of see how radiant it does look. We're getting like a nice little glow here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply the other side with my brush, and we'll see how that looks on this side with a brush. The brush I'm going to be using is actually from Farrah Brushes. This is the 40F, and this is going to be a stippler brush. Now, I know this is probably not what most people would use for their foundation, but I actually love using this with my lighter coverage foundations because I feel like it really just gives like an airbrush kind of look to your skin. I really like this brush with like my NARS Radiant foundation. It's my favorite brush to use with that one because it gives you really like just a natural look to your face, and it just really gives good coverage too. So I just apply it directly onto the brush, just like a few little dabs, and then I just really work it into the skin. I've just been doing this recently with this brush, and I just really enjoy it. So we're getting pretty good coverage on this side as well, and I feel like we're using less product with this brush as we did with the side with the beauty sponge. And I feel like I only used like a few little drips, maybe like see how tiny bit I have in there. And I feel like we're getting really good coverage on this side with the brush. So I think for this foundation, I actually might prefer it with the brush like this because I feel like we're using less product than we're using with the sponge. All right, and here is what we're looking like. So this is going to be our sponge side here, and then we have our brush side. So as you can see, they look very similar in application. So I would say that you could use either one, a brush or your sponge. I think I prefer it better with the brush though, the Duo Fiber brush. I think that it just kind of used less product that way, but I feel like both sides kind of gave the same finish. It definitely has a very radiant look to it. And actually, I think that this match wasn't too awful for me. The shade, again, we used shade number 3. I do feel like when I'm a little self-tanned, it kind of would work if I kind of, had a little bit of color to me. But I don't feel like the match is too off. I could definitely run it down my neck and make it work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply the rest of my face makeup so you guys can see kind of what it looks like with my powder and everything on top. All right, guys, so we are back. I applied the rest of my face makeup. I did use the Be a Light palette from Becca, and this review will be coming at you guys tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But this is what we are looking like with all of our face makeup added. I added concealer and and highlight and as well bronzer. And I also added a little bit of powder. I did set just a little bit right here. I also obviously set my under eyes, and then I did set my forehead a little. So we are looking still pretty dewy. I feel like this gives a really nice coverage though to the skin. Definitely not full coverage, but I wouldn't say it's really light either. We were able to make it pretty medium. This is kind of what I prefer in my foundation. So far so good. I think I like it so far. I love the coverage that we are getting. It feels nice on the skin. It definitely doesn't feel lightweight or anything like that. The only con so far is just the squeeze tube. I feel like it's could be a little bit tighter because it's a little bit messy. This is what we're looking like after the application. So it does look pretty messy, but other than that, I don't have any complaints so far. I am going to do a little bit of a wear test, so I'm gonna leave this on, I would say probably, I'm trying to think how many hours, maybe like 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll come back to you guys and we'll see how we're looking at that point. Today I do not have time to do like a full 8-hour wear test, but I will do for you guys like a 3 or 4 hour wear test so we can see where we're at. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in though so you can see what we look like close up. All right, and here is the close up of the foundation with everything else on our face, our powders, concealer, and everything. So pretty nice coverage and pretty luminous look to this foundation. All right, so I am back. It's been about 6 hours since we applied the foundation, a little bit over 6 hours. Longer of a wear test than I planned on, but we had some errands we had to run and stuff. So this is what we are looking like after the 6-hour mark. I am noticing that we definitely look pretty dewy. My skin kind of looks pretty oily. I'm typically dry. So, I mean, I don't hate it. I actually like it when my skin looks like this because I feel like I'm so dry normally. So this is what we are looking like. I actually think it held up pretty well. You guys in here so you can see, but we don't have much coming off at all actually. I'm pretty surprised like around the nose area it actually looks really good. I do think throughout the days obviously as my pores, you know, kind of got more oily and stuff, I feel like they're a lot more visible than they were earlier. Same thing with like the lines on my forehead and such, but that's pretty typical for me, so that doesn't really kind of surprised me, but I think it held up pretty nicely. The coverage actually looks pretty good still, so after 6 hours, it's pretty good. So my final thoughts, I think that this is a pretty good foundation. I think it wore out really great throughout the day. I don't really have much complaints. I do see it like split apart a little bit right up here, but nothing too bad, nothing, you know, I haven't touched up at all. I've been outside in the heat and stuff, so I feel like it looks pretty good for, you know, what I've put it through, and for the 6-hour mark, I feel like I'm pretty happy with it. So I would say for me, this is definitely going to be a plus. I think it's going to be a foundation that I am going to like, and I can feel comfortable recommending it to you guys at this point. Of course, I'm going to continue to, you know, review it and everything like that, and continue to use it and try it, different primers and everything like that. But so far, so good. I definitely think that this is worth checking out. I do think the price point is good on it. The only thing that I do say I didn't like about it was the packaging. I feel like the squeeze tube was just a bit annoying. I feel like you got a lot of product that came out with it, but other than that, I think it's a pretty good foundation. So let me know what you guys think down below of this review. Let me know if you plan on picking up this new foundation from Benefit. Sorry, it's been a long day. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys go, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.